Jeez, look how high we are. That sounds so good. First increase RPM, then boost. Vice versa when decreasing power. Gotcha. So, what are the numbers that you never want to go to because you will blow the engine up? Like, if I was to push my RPMs up to maximum here, I can go 3,000, but it sounds like a lot. 2,500 maybe is a cruise, somewhere around there. So if I go to 3,000 RPM and then climb, yikes. Lost a bit of airspeed though. Check your temps to yellow gauges, gotcha. Wait, there's an airfield down there. Good night, Venga. Have a good one, sir. I've no idea how we're supposed to land this thing. I know we have to get down to 160 to get the flaps down, but I've no idea about the RPMs and stuff. Right, there's a runway. There's an airfield here, an airfield over there. You land with grace and elegance like a true Brit. Yeah, right. In your dreams, pal. Normally you go to 1700 RPM and boosters required. Gotcha. So if I bring it back to like 2000 RPM. She'll lose speed like a brick once the flaps and gear are down. Gotcha. Probably end up going around and stuff. There's actually another one here. That the airfields are everywhere. So if I want to bleed speed off, know what speed you can put the gear down on? Let's put the gear down. Woo! Jeez, felt that. Right, this is inevitably going to end up with me face planting the runway, but you know. What's the approach speed? Does anybody know the approach speed? $120. That'll be fast. Right, there's 120. Ouch, a bit bouncy. Ooh, not good, not good, not good. Like a glove. I didn't break it. What is it they say? Any landing you can walk away from? I'll take that for a first landing. I thoroughly expected it to be more like... Right, let's see if we can line up. Nightmare, thank you for 21 months. I can now legally drink while watching. Well done. Congrats on new freedom, Nightmare. It was a tactical wing drag, exactly. That's exactly what it was. Andy2654, thanks for 16. Oh yeah, the narrow... It really is a tricky plane to land. Like you say, with the narrow undercarriage as well, the chances of tipping this thing over are so high. Landing with style. I think we should go over to the where all the other planes and stuff are. Get shot down by Sam. Visibility in your lineup is so incredibly bad. The problem with these tail draggers is you literally can't see where you're going until the plane gets up. There's like little flames coming out of the exhaust, look. Detail's amazing. Can you actually do that, Kiyakawa? Can you actually spec that? Frosty Forza, thank you for almost 4 years. Kenworth, thanks very much. Let's have a quick look around the cockpit while we're here. Oh, we've got a rudder trim. That's good to know. The radiator flap open and closed. Pitot heat on and off. I take it they're like rudimentary circuit breakers. Undercarriage raise and lower. What's this? Fuel jettison. Wow. Fuel bottom tanker only. Top tank is not gauged and contains 48 gallons at takeoff. Keep cock normally open. So that's telling me how many gallons I have left, which is not a lot. I think. Yeah, so I'm pretty low on fuel, right? So I've got less than... Is that 10 minutes of flight time? Is that what I'm reading here? Less than 10 minutes of flight time? Blimey. This thing's chewing through fuel. Floodlights. Okay. Reflector gun sight Mark II. British patent, French patent, US patent. No idea how this even works. Gun sight tint screen up and down. The fuel tank is kind of small and must sink in the air forever due to massive tanks. What's this on off? Nav lights. Ah. Oh, it has nav lights. Nice. So I guess to refuel, I'm going to have to go and pull up and... So you know what, let's just run out of fuel, I don't care. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. That wasn't a good takeoff. I only just caught that. If I remember, the Mustang was like a lot more like torque steer when you were taking off. It just nosedive left really badly on the Mustang. This isn't quite as bad. I am curious though, why did they design this so that you have to press a button to check your fuel? That's not very convenient, is it? Really? Let's see how much we've got. Oh, we've got 5 minutes of fuel. Cup of tea? Thanks. Thank you very much. What plane do you think we're in? Huh? Spitfire. You should know a Spitfire. Hey? Alright, couldn't really hear you anyway. So, am I reading this right? We've got 5 gallons left and 5 minutes of flying time. So we're basically chewing through a gallon a minute. Is that what's going on here? 5 gallons, not minutes. In this case, it might be the same. Well, I was reading the number underneath. I was thinking maybe the number underneath was in minutes or something. Normal, because it says normal flight time. It says gallons on top, normal flight. Oh, normal flight. Right, so we've got 4 gallons left. Okay, well, good luck with that. Yes, I had a quick look at Satisfactory Moonraker. The experimental branch. Puppies and I tried, but it worked okay for me as the host, but when Puppies was joining my game, it kept crashing him out quite a bit. It was pretty unstable. The experimental multiplayer. It's pretty unstable. It glides quite well, yeah. We'll find out in a minute. Where are we? Oh, there's an airfield just to our left somewhere. There it is. Estimated about 3 gallons. Like all the actions over here. From a distance it sounds just as good. Try to switch on the gun sight. There's a switch between the base of the hood and this strange pipe lever thing on the left. The base of the hood and this strange pipe lever thing on the left. That's a good description. Oof. Do you see that? You see how the bullets cross? That's when you're supposed to use this range. Let's try range 200 yards. Range 500 yards. Wowzers. Base in feet. I'm not sure. Is that for ground targets? You know, we can't stay like that for very long. That's for wingspan. How does that work? When the wingspan is set correct and the target's wingtips touch the horizon bars, the range is correct. So you have to put in the how wide the plane is that you're trying to shoot. Is that right? According to this, there should be some ground units down here. Uh-oh. There goes the fuel. Mayday, mayday. We're out of fuel, boys. Where's the nearest runway? Right, what's the glide speed in this thing? Oh boy, we're nowhere near runways. Just land in a field. I had to do one of these. Was it yesterday?
50, 40, 30, 20.
Practice forced landing. Nightmare, we're going down! No, don't do it. It's all good. We got this. Is there anything we can press down here to get more fuel? Come on, there must be a reserve switch. There's got to be a reserve switch. I reckon we can glide all the way to Asville. Where is Ansville? I'm going to guess at 120 mile an hour glide. Oh boy, we're losing speed now. Okay, we might be better going straight south to Binneyville. Yeah, we're not going to be making it to an airfield, I don't think. I believe the gauge measures your reserve fuel. RIP.
Happy anniversary.
Oh, there's the airfield, look. So close. But with this altitude, it ain't gonna happen. This thing's coming out the sky pretty fast now. Yeah, we're ditching. We are ditching. Oh boy, the speed this is coming out the air. Flippin' heck. It doesn't want to fly anymore. Into the trees. Oof. We don't need wheels where we're going, Mr. Mendez. Do you know what surprised me about that plane? It was cruising at 120 like that, no problem. And then as it got near the ground, it just started falling out of the sky. Like as I made that turn, it just went like a brick. And I deliberately didn't put the gear or the flaps down because I wanted to get as far as I could. No, floating fact mind, I did put the gear down right at the very end, just before we hit a tree. You can see that the gear was down. Plays last post. Right, let's go. So what tutorials has it got? Training. Spitfire. Engine start procedure. Let's go with that. Can you not change the map? Let's learn how to start this thing. Oh, do you know what? I forgot I got a cup of tea here. Starting the engine, warming up training lesson. Perform preliminary checks, start the engine and warm up the engine. Okay.
Welcome to the startup lesson. Today you will learn the engine start procedure for the Supermarine Spitfire Mark 9. Press the spacebar to begin. This lesson will consist of the following parts: preliminaries, starting the engine, and warming up the engine. Press the spacebar to proceed.
Hello, chaps. We're going to teach you how to start up that Spitfire today, the Mark 9. Okay, what? Press spacebar.
Let's begin with the preliminary checks before you start the engine. Ensure that the idle cut-off control is in the cut-off position. Belly aft. Press the spacebar to confirm.
The idle control. Would you ever be a flight instructor mega fan? Like the paperwork you have to go through just to get an instructor certificate is a lot. Plus you have to get your commercial flight lessons first, I think. Mixture control select is in the aft position. Yep, that looks good to me. Blazing puppies walking back.
Check that the undercarriage selector lever is down. Press the spacebar to confirm.
Dude, I'm sorry. I take offense to him saying lever. Undercarriage is in the down position. Well, it's in the off position. I mean, if I was sat in a plane and it wasn't in the down position, I'd be quite worried.
Ensure that the drop tank's fuel cock is set to the off position, fully forward. Press the spacebar to confirm.
Alright, so you're going to go mixture, gear, fuel drop.
Check that the main tank's fuel cock is set to the off position. Press the spacebar to confirm.
Alright, so you've got jettison fuel, that fuel, gear, mixture. Oh, fair enough. So far, so good.
We'll now test the operation of the flying controls. Let's begin with a rudder check. Look back at the tail of the aircraft and check the rudder pedals for full movement. Ensure that the rudder is moving freely. Use num4 or num6 keys to look back if you're not using track IR or a mouse. In order to move the rudder pedals, press the Z and X keys or move your rudder axis.
I can see movement back there, but it's kind of tricky.
Now let's check the operation of the elevators. Move the control stick fully forward and fully aft.
Can't see it that way. Let's get back track IR. There we go. Looks good to me.
Check the operation of the right aileron. Watch the right aileron and move your control stick fully left and right.
Wait, how did he say aileron? Fully left. And fully right. Wiggle, wiggle.
Now check the operation of the left aileron. Keep an eye on the left aileron as you move your control stick fully left and right.
This guy, I'm getting triggered by the fact that he goes, aileron. Check the aileron. It's all good, bro. Carry on. We've done it. Come on. Full left, full right. It's all good.
Ensure that both magneto ignition switches are set to the off position. Press the spacebar to confirm.
Magnetos to off.
Make sure that the fuel tank pressure cock is in the off position. Press the spacebar to confirm.
What does that actually do then?
Check that the pneumatic supply pressure is no less than 220 pounds per square inch. Check this with the central needle on the triple pressure gauge. Press the spacebar to proceed.
Wait, 220?
Happy anniversary, Nutter.
I don't know what we're reading here, to be honest with you. I don't know if that's 220. Marky Mark, thank you, 55. Not around so much due to work. We can't watch live, we watch the VODs. We'll be at Truckfest on Sunday, so hopefully see you there. Indeed, Marky Mark. 12 o'clock meetup.
Adjust the airfield altitude setting on the altimeter to 0. Rotate the highlighted knob using the mouse wheel.
Yeah, I did that, bro. Carry on. What does he want it on? Oh, set 1,000. Jeez, why was it so badly out?
We'll now check the operation of the flaps. Set the flap control lever to the down position. Press the F key or click the highlighted lever.
Wait, we've not got
Look
any
to the
electrical
right
things?
and left and ensure that both mechanical flap indicators are up. These are located on the wings. Press the spacebar to confirm.
They're cool. It's the mechanical flaps. Nice.
Set the flap control lever to the up position. and look at the mechanical flap indicators again to ensure that they went down. Press the... Make sure that the sliding hood operates properly. Close the hood and then open it. Press left Ctrl+C to close the hood and left Shift+C to open the hood, or click the highlighted element. Move the throttle lever forward until the light indication switch on the throttle quadrant is on. Press the non-plus key or move the throttle axis forward.
Move the throttle lever forward until the light indication switch on the throttle quadrant is on.
Ensure that the word down is lit on the undercarriage light indicator on the left, and that the fuel pressure warning light is lit on the right. Retract the throttle lever back to the full up position once you've made sure that the light indicators are working. Press the non-minus key or move the throttle axis back. Check the level of the fuel tanks. Press and hold the highlighted button and watch the fuel level gauge. Release the push button once you... All preliminary checks are now done. Now we're ready to start the engine. Press the spacebar to proceed.
Whew, can we just have a minute? Have a cup of tea. I find these, like, these DCS tutorials are just something about the voices are just, like the A10 one is really bad.
Welcome back.
See, you're in that wonderful bird, indeed. Treble, welcome back. Treble of Kerbenog. To be honest, Mega Fan, like everything that he just went through then, you can pretty much go through in like 30 seconds once you know what you're doing. Like it's far, far longer for him to explain it than to just go, check that, press that, check that, flick this, press that, done. You know. Once you know what you're doing, those checks will take like seconds. Roskell, welcome back. Thank you for 43. I don't know, Nightmare. How do you know the ejector seat works? I don't think they had any ejector seats, did they? On Spitfires? None of that had been invented yet. Mr. Brett-san, how you doing, bro? I think your t-shirt might have arrived, Brett-san. I'm not 100%. What cut? Did you order grey, didn't you, Brett-san? I'm sure you ordered grey. Yeah. I'm pretty certain, I won't take it out of the bag, but I'm pretty certain, Mr. Brett-san, that is the one you ordered. You can abandon the aircraft and jump off with a parachute in DCS. Right.
Set the parking brake to make sure the aircraft remains stationary when the engine starts. Hover the mouse cursor over the highlighted lever and rotate the mouse wheel. Set the main tank's fuel cock to the on position. Press the T key or click the highlighted lever. Open the throttle lever by moving it half an inch to 1 inch forward. Press the non-plus key or move the throttle axis forward. Move the propeller speed control lever fully forward. Press the page up key or move. Set the carburetor air intake control lever on the left-hand side of the cockpit to the filter in operation position. Unscrew the engine priming pump. Hover the mouse cursor over a highlighted element and rotate the mouse wheel.
Unscrew the engine priming pump.
Prime the engine by giving the primer 5 full strokes. Use the insert button or click and hold the primer with the mouse cursor to prime the engine. Operate the hand wobble pump until the low fuel pressure warning light is extinguished, or approximately 9 to... Set both magneto ignition switches to the on position to provide power to the engine ignition system. Press left shift plus end. Open the starter and booster coil push button covers. Click the covers in the highlighted area with your mouse. Press the starter and booster coil push buttons simultaneously. Use
What?
the home and delete buttons on the keyboard. As the engine begins to catch, move the idle cutoff lever on the throttle quadrant fully forward, using the M key or by clicking it. Then release the starter and booster coil push buttons. If you are unable to start the engine successfully, return the idle cutoff lever to the fully aft position and repeat the process, starting with priming the engine.
That was a lot of words. Press the starter and coil simultaneously with home and delete. Okay, got that. As the engine begins to catch, move the idle cutoff lever on the throttle quadrant fully forward using the M key or clicking it. Then release the starter and booster coil. If you're unable to start the engine successfully, return the idle cutoff lever to the aft position and repeat the process. Okay, so home and delete.
Good start. Hold the throttle lever to the idle, fully aft position. Take a look at the oil pressure gauge and ensure that the oil pressure is in the 60 to 120 pounds per square inch range. Press the spacebar to proceed.
60 to 120, looking good. Okay, we got all that. Is everybody remembering all this? Because we're gonna be doing an exam on it later. Look at the oil pressure. Done. Spacebar.
Close the starter and booster coil push button covers. Screw down the prime. Look at the engine speed indicator and adjust the throttle to run the engine at about 1000 to 1200 RPM. Continue to idle the engine at 1000 to 1200 RPM until it warms up to at least 20 degrees Celsius oil temperature on the left gauge in the highlighted area.
We've got 20.
And 60 degrees Celsius coolant temperature on the right gauge.
We don't have 60. We got 20, but we don't have 60 yet. Can you go through it again?
This concludes the engine start lesson. Well done. Press the spacebar to end the lesson.
Alright, we need to try and remember how to do that on our own now. Takeoff and taxi. Taxi and takeoff. Actually, I wouldn't mind learning how to taxi properly because I'm a bit all over the place. Let's see if it's got any tips. I don't think it's as bad as the A10 Triple. At the end of the day, it's basically the usual. Prime the engine, get the fuel pump on, get the magnetos on, fire it up. Job's a good one.
Welcome to the taxi and takeoff lesson. Today we will be practicing taxiing and taking off in the Supermarine Spitfire Mark 9. Press the spacebar to begin.
You did not complete lesson. Dude, the plane started moving! Why was that my fault? Left shift and R. I put the throttle into the idle position, the plane started to move, and then it said, oh, you've not finished the lesson. You suck. How about if you'd have put the parking brake on, we wouldn't have that problem.
Welcome to the taxi and takeoff lesson. Today we will be practicing taxiing and taking off in the Supermarine Spitfire Mark 9.
Good night, Bretson.
Press the spacebar to begin. The lesson will consist of the following parts. Before taxi checklist, taxiing, before takeoff checklist, takeoff, and climb to altitude. Press the spacebar to proceed to the first
Before
part.
taxi checklist.
Check that these temperatures are in the following ranges. Oil on the left gauge is no less than 20 degrees Celsius and is no more than 80 degrees Celsius. The coolant on the right gauge is no less than 60 degrees Celsius and is no more than 120 degrees Celsius. You can use the num / and num star keys to adjust the field of view, or FOV, if the temperature numbers are not easy to see. Press num enter to reset the FOV. Press spacebar when ready. Make sure that the propeller speed control lever is fully forward. Use the page up key or move the engine RPM axis forward.
Wait, what? Make sure the propeller speed control lever is fully forward. Use the page up key or engine RPM key to move forward.
Check that the pneumatic pressure supply is no less than 220 pounds per square inch. The triple pressure gauge central needle should be in the vertical position.
Yep,
Press
that's
the
good for me.
spacebar to proceed.
Good enough for me.
Press the brake lever and check. Holding the brakes down, increase the throttle to 1,800 RPM in order to check brake effectiveness. Monitor RPM on the engine speed indicator highlighted.
Throttle up to 1,800 RPM to check brake effectiveness. Plane start to move. Mission fails. Well, I would say those brakes are not very effective. I think I'll just leave the parking brake on and do that. Is that the voice of Jeff? I'm not sure.
Welcome to the taxi and takeoff lesson.
Yeah.
Today the lesson will consist of the following parts.
Yep.
Check that these temperatures are in the following ranges.
They're all good.
Oil. Make sure that the propeller speed control lever is fully forward.
Yep.
Check that the pneumatic pressure
So
supply
good.
is no less than. Press the brake lever and check the air pressure for each wheel. Holding the brakes down, increase the throttle to 1,800 RPM in order to check brake effectiveness. Monitor RPM on the engine speed indicator highlighted. Press the non-plus key carefully.
It's starting to move,
the
look.
throttle axis while holding the brake down. Brakes checked. Pull back the throttle. Open the canopy for better visibility while taxiing. Press. You are now ready to taxi. We'll use approximately 1,500 RPM to start moving from a standstill. Once in motion, the throttle lever should be set to the idle to maintain a safe taxi speed. To execute turns on the ground, press and hold the wheel brake lever on your flight control stick, while simultaneously giving rudder input in the direction of the desired turn. This will apply brake pressure to the corresponding main wheel and allow you to turn. In order to use the rudder pedals, press Z to turn left, and X to turn right, or use the rudder axis. Press the spacebar to proceed.
Right. When you're ready to taxi, we'll use approximately 1,500 RPM to start moving from a standstill. Once in motion, the throttle lever should be in the idle to maintain a safe taxi speed. Okay. I don't think this is going to really teach me
Increase
anything.
throttle to 1,500 RPM. Press the non-plus key carefully, or move the throttle axis. Pull back the throttle lever. Press the non-minus key, or move the throttle axis. Stop in front of the yellow line on the taxiway using brakes. Press the W key, or move the wheel brake axis. Perform a left turn by pressing the brakes lever and left rudder pedal while simultaneously increasing throttle. Reduce throttle and center the rudder pedals while keeping the brakes left.
I think it wants me to go the other way. But yeah, that's pretty boring. Let's try the next one, landing. This will be much more fun. The thing is, what they don't realize is, like, he's giving you all these sentences and words while you're trying to figure out where he wants you to go when you're trying to do it. You know, you can't focus on doing that while he's just talking at you with detail.
Welcome to the landing lesson. Today we will practice flying a visual approach pattern and landing the Spitfire, followed by the engine shutdown procedure. If you're having trouble hearing the instructions over the engine noise, turn down the World and in-cockpit sound sliders in the Options audio menu. Press the spacebar key to proceed when ready. In this lesson, we'll use a standard military overhead pattern. An overhead pattern consists of the following basic elements. Entry into the pattern on the upwind leg, where the aircraft is flown along the runway parallel to the landing course. The crosswind leg, where the aircraft is turned 180 degrees to take the downwind leg, using the turn to bleed off any excess airspeed. The downwind leg, where the aircraft is flown along the runway in the opposite direction of the landing course and is prepared for landing. The base leg, where the aircraft is turned another 180 degrees while descending to take the final approach. The final approach, where the aircraft is flown down a steady glide path past the runway threshold to the touchdown point. Press the spacebar to proceed.
You got that? It is like really badly distorted, Democracy.
The length and altitude of the pattern may vary. For this practice mission, we will assume a typical pattern of entry at 1,000 feet above ground level while holding that altitude on the upwind and downwind legs. Base leg descending to 600 feet towards the final approach point. A normal 3 degrees glide slope from the final approach point starting at 600 feet at altitude 2 nautical miles from the runway. Press the spacebar to proceed.
It'd be interesting to see at what point it deploys gears and flaps.
The advantage of the overhead pattern is that it allows you to bleed off any excess airspeed in a crosswind turn before settling down on the downwind leg and dropping the gear and flaps for final approach. Final approach is flown at 100 to 110 miles per hour. Press the spacebar key to proceed.
100 to 110?
Once we enter the pattern, be careful to avoid large throttle movements. Handle the controls carefully to maintain control and stable flight. You should see our airfield ahead in the gunsight reticle. Use num star and num / in order to zoom in and zoom out, and the num enter key to reset the zoom to default value. Press the spacebar key when ready to proceed. The active pause will be turned off and control will be transferred to you, so be ready.
He said that after it had handed control.
We'll use maximum continuous power while flying to the airfield. Set the propeller speed control lever to give 2,650 RPM. Set the throttle lever to maintain a boost pressure of +7 pounds per square inch.
+7.
Maintain altitude and proceed to the airfield.
Okay. 2650, 7 boost. Maintain altitude, he said. It's about there. He'll be giving you instructions in the middle of landing. He absolutely will. It's exactly what he's going to do. I thought we're supposed to be entering the pattern at 1,000 feet AGL, and we're like 3,500 feet currently. OS4, thank you for 31 months. What's the difference between a nicely dressed man on a tricycle and a poorly dressed man on a bicycle? A tyre. That's almost clever.
You should see a pattern of green gates arranged in the air to help guide you through the overhead pattern all the way down to the runway.
Nice.
The pattern entry gate is the first one, positioned 1,000 feet above the runway threshold. Fly your heading to the entry gate, which will put you on the upwind leg over the runway heading away from the coast.
So apparently we're 1,000 feet AGL, even though my altimeter reached 3,000. So they basically the whole mission doesn't have the right barrel pressure. Modus, thank you 10 months.
You're approaching the pattern. Level off and follow the gates to fly the pattern.
You should be able to do this, but without the boxes as well.
Good job entering the pattern. You are now on the upwind leg. Keep the power down and monitor your airspeed and altitude. The next leg will be a crosswind turn, taking you 180 degrees left to put you on the downwind leg. Use the turn to bleed off any excess speed starting or below 200 miles per hour on the downward leg.
A little bit high. Still 220. There we go, we're 200 now. Yeah, the actual base game is free. Crazy. The sim is free, but you have to pay for the planes and maps. You get one map and a couple of planes free, and after that you buy what you want. Yes, please, Connor. It'll most likely be at Insomnia in August. I'll be travelling down in the National Express from Scotland. I guess the Royal Bank Balance Reductor is the hotels. Yeah, book early to avoid disappointment, Connor. Places go quickly, man. I booked my hotel for Insomnia back in January. Hasn't told me to put gear or flaps down yet. This is amazing. Why do I get the feeling that this is broken? This doesn't feel right at all. I'm gonna put my gear and flaps down because I think this is broken. It's not giving me any instructions about gears and flaps. Yeah, I've got a feeling maybe I missed a box and it's just not triggered. Uh-oh. Oh no! Not good.
Z or X rudder inputs along with tapping the brakes to roll down the center of the runway. Set the throttle to idle power. You missed some of the pattern gates in your approach. Next time, fly the pattern more accurately. Continue to roll to the next available taxiway to the right. Press the F key to raise flaps, and press left shift plus C to open the canopy.
I mean, you know, I didn't break the propeller. I count that as a win. Omega of Sweden, thank you for 8 months. Right, so we missed a few boxes apparently. Yeah, he just told me I'm not flying accurately enough. That's what he just said.
Welcome to the landing lesson. In this, the lengths and altitude of the advantage of the overhead pattern is that it allows you to, once we enter the pattern, be careful to avoid large throttle movements. Handle the controls carefully to maintain control and stable flight. You should see our airfield ahead in the gun-side reticle. We'll use maximum continuous power while flying to maintain altitude and proceed to the airfield.
I've lost the airfield. Where's it gone? I didn't expect it to give me control so quickly. Okay, we got this. 2650 RPM, 7 on the boost. Right, we need to get back on the runway axis because we're quite a bit off. I'll try and hit all the boxes this time because it seems to be very, very sensitive to hitting the boxes.
Gates arranged in the air to help guide you through the overhead pattern all the way down to the runway. The pattern entry gate is the first one, positioned 1,000 feet above the runway threshold. Fly your head into the entry gate, which will put you on the upwind leg over the runway heading away from the coast.
Here we go. I think it was possibly the crosswind leg where I lost the box. Because I was a bit high when I made the turn. Rev-ons, Walker back.
Level off and follow the gates to fly the pattern.
How accurate you have to be through these boxes.
Good job entering the pattern. You are now on the upwind leg. Keep the power down and monitor your airspeed and altitude. The next leg will be a crosswind turn, taking you 180 degrees left to put you on the downwind leg. Use the turn to bleed off any excess speed so that you're below 200 miles per hour on the downwind leg.
No. Uh-oh. Trouble with this is you end up flying the boxes instead of actually trying to fly the pattern. I think we hit them.
You're now on the downwind leg. Maintain an airspeed around 160 miles per hour.
Yeah, we definitely didn't get that last time. That's right, so you want to be going in about 200 and then 160 on the downwind. Good to know. These are the numbers you need.
Lower the landing gear by pressing G. Watch the landing gear warning lights panel to make sure you get the green light.
Gear down. I'm guessing you want to put flaps on final. Fox89, thank you for 2 months, Fox.
The next gate will be the start of your base leg, leading you through a descending left-hand turn towards the final approach point. Control your airspeed to make sure it stays between 150 to 160 miles per hour for the final approach.
Blimey. Just trying to get through these boxes at the right speed. Requires a bit of concentration.
You're now lining up for final approach. Press the F key to lower the flaps. Check the mechanical indicators. Set the propeller speed control lever fully forward. Maintain 110 miles per hour on final. Minimize side slip and trim for a steady approach. If you find yourself getting into trouble, add a little power and raise the gear and flaps to climb out and go around. Your approach is too fast. Keep your approach speed around 110 miles per hour.
We got this. Haven't finished trimming, bro. Chill. This feels like an awfully shallow landing angle.
As you approach the threshold, prepare to reduce power and fly the aircraft by gently pulling the stick back. You want a gentle touchdown at about 90 miles per hour.
90. Look at the angle you come in on. It's just super, super low. No, flared up.
Carefully reduce power and continue pulling the stick back for a gentle flare. Try to make a soft 3-point landing to avoid a bounce. Use careful Z or X rudder inputs along with tapping the brakes to roll down the center of the runway. Set the throttle to idle power. Continue to roll to the next available taxiway to the right. Press the F key to raise flaps and press left shift plus C to open the canopy.
I thought that was quite smooth. The angle you come in on, oh my god, it's so shallow. It's really hard to not bounce it because you're that shallow you can't really see where you are. Oh boy. It wasn't a bad pattern, and it wasn't a bad approach. Everything was like fairly good, but the final stage is like really hard to get right. It's mostly not damaged. It's fine. Nothing insurance won't cover. Like, it's quite a big runway. This runway looked a lot smaller before. Show Wolf, thank you for 20 months. And your Chuck Yeager was to spawn. Yeah, I'm happy with all parts of that approach, apart from the last bit was just horrendously bad. Uh-oh. It's going crazy. It's going crazy. Just steering this thing is awful.
Slow down and take the taxiway to the right.
Turn, you stupid plane. takes some getting used to this steering.
Turn left and park in one of the parking spaces.
Good job we said that. I was going to go right. When he says one of the parking spaces, does he mean in the grass? You surprised it's running at all, Dave? Dude, I just took a little bit of paint off on the wing. That's nothing to what happens in war, you know? It's just a scratch, literally. Can we park here then? Exactly. That's exactly it. Just blame the wing damage on the Germans. I had a bit of a combat and they shot the wing. But there's pieces of runway on the wing, Squirrel. Yeah, well, you know, they were shooting runway at me. Can we park here?
We'll now shut down the aircraft. Let's first set the park. Shut off the engine by operating the idle cut-off control lever.
Idle cut-off control lever.
Switch off the ignition switches.
Turn off the fuel cup.
Wait, he sounds like he suddenly jumped into the cockpit with me.
Mission complete. Nice job, pilot.
Did you hear that?
Press the spacebar to end the mission.
Right at the end, his voice stopped being really, like, compressed and canned, and he went, switch off the aircock. Fuel cock or whatever it was. Man, that's a tricky one, that one. Aerial gunnery. Let's do it. I don't think he does like me, Dave. I'm just going to have a minute before we start the next one. I'm going to have a piece of Milka Oreo chocolate. I'm having Domino's later. Mrs. Squirrel told me I'm having Domino's pizza for tea. It doesn't matter if the BF-109 is superior. The Spitfire is amazing. Yeah, Dave, take away.
Welcome to the aerial gunnery lesson. Today we will learn how to use the Mark II reflector gun sight and conduct target practice in the Supermarine Spitfire Mark IX. Press the spacebar to begin. The Supermarine Spitfire Mark IX has a Mark II reflector gun sight mounted on a bracket above the instrument panel. Press the spacebar to continue.
A Mark II reflector gun sight.
The gun sight switch is installed on the panel below the gun sight bracket. Turn on the gun sight by clicking the highlighted switch. The light can be varied to suit conditions by rotating the dimmer switch knob. Try
Oh my
setting
God.
the gun sight brightness to minimum value of.
Who even knew this existed?
Day to fit daylight conditions. Hover the mouse cursor over The gun sight is equipped with a tinted glass which can be used to reduce glare and allow the illuminated reticle to be seen in strong sunlight. Try enabling it by clicking the highlighted lever. However, we'll not use the tinted glass for today's lesson. Disable it by clicking the lever to proceed.
This funny handle thing puts a green screen over your gun sight, you know, just in case that's useful.
Set using the mower adjustment ring on the sight. Our practice target is a Focke-Wulf 119, so we need to set the target base to about 35 feet, which is equal to the FW-190's wingspan. Rotate the adjustment ring using a counterclockwise rotation and set target base at about 30. You'll be shooting at the practice target from approximately 150 yards. Set the range to 150 yards by rotating the upper adjustment ring. Check the gun safety lever before you begin. The mechanical indicator should be in the out position. Press left shift or spacebar to toggle the gun safety lever. Press spacebar when you are ready to begin.
Where's the gun safety bar? I don't see this gun safety. Left shift and space.
Enemy bandits have been spawned ahead. Shoot them down. Set full throttle to catch them up.
Are we catching them up? When it says full throttle, it means full RPMs, right? It doesn't mean like full boost or anything.
Reduce speed.
Whoa. Get
Good
some.
shot.
Uh-oh. Jeez, man. How slow are they flying? He's damaged, but he's not destroyed. We need to finish him. To finish him.
That one is going down.
Get wrecked, sunshine. Too fast. Uh-oh, mid-air collision. Not good.
Keep that speed.
No, I don't want to keep that speed. I'm above him. You numpty. Where'd he go? Completely lost the guy. There he is. Let's try and get in behind him.
Nice hits.
Like, I've got 0 RPM on the throttle, and he's still not overtaking me. This is so weird. Oh! That wasn't supposed to happen. I didn't know he was a Japanese pilot. I thought he was a German pilot. That was his fault. Shift R. To be continued. Oof.
Welcome to the aerial gunnery lesson. Today we will learn how to use the Mark II reflector gun sight and conduct target practice in the Supermarine Spitfire Mark IX. Press the spacebar to begin. The Supermarine Spitfire Mark IX has a mark. The gun sight switch is installed. The light can be varied to suit conditions, but the gun sight is equipped with a tip. The target base is set using the lower adjustment ring on the side. You will be shooting at the practice target from the front. Check the gun safety lever before you begin. The mechanical indicator should be in the out position. Press left shift plus spacebar to toggle the gun safety lever. Press spacebar when you are ready to begin. Enemy bandits have been spawned ahead. Shoot them down. Set full throttle to catch them up.
Right, let's get them.
Reduce speed.
He tells you to go full throttle and immediately tells you to reduce speed.
Good shot.
Not enough though, is it? Oh my god. Hey.
Keep that speed. Gain some speed. They are getting away.
Dude, I'm going around, okay? It's really, really easy to overshoot. Like, you have no air brake at all, so you have to judge when to back off. States, enjoy the show. More carnage, please. I'll try. Yeah, right. I'm gonna drop the wheels down at like 200 mile an hour. Yeah. See, when I back off now, we're still like accelerating for ages. We still catch them up because they go so slowly.